Okay, next I'm going to get into the control panel. So we'll go over scan, copy, user box, secure print, and just the training, the basic training I do for the control panel. One additional thing when standing next to the machine, I always stand to the, I guess if you're looking at it, to the right of the machine, or if you're standing next to it, to the left of the machine, because this way it's easy for you to push the buttons, but you don't want to interrupt the customer from seeing them. Right, here we go. Hopefully you can stay with me. I always like to use the stylus. I let the customer know they do not have to use the stylus, but it just makes it easier to do training so that my hand is not in front of the machine. I already checked everything, so I know that we're ready to go. I know all the buttons are going to do what they're supposed to do. I show the customer this is the home screen. It's very similar to the apps on our cell phone. We can click copy, scan, user box, secure print, sound, and utility. And I start with secure print and user box. The reason I start with secure print and user box is because those are two features the customer is not as familiar with. They're also more simple solutions. They don't take very long to talk about. And so by the time we get over to copy, they're probably going to be tired of listening to me, but pretty much everyone knows how to make basic copies. So if they tune me out by then, I don't really care. So secure print is a great feature. I consider it like a hold and release. So what that's going to do is when you have confidential information, or it's a busy day at the office and a bunch of people are walking around and you do not want them to see your documents, you can put a code on your print job. You can send 10 or 15 different things. When you walk up to the machine, you click secure print. The code I use is 222. I personally don't worry about putting a password. No one knows that I'm printing and no one knows my code or my ID, so I just keep it that. At that point, when you click OK, it'll show you thumbnails of all those print jobs. You can click a select all and it'll print all of them for you, or you can select a specific one. We'll try one of those later at the PC. User box. User box is great. It's like a filing cabinet, somewhere where you can store your forms, you can store those master copies, you can store those things that are located somewhere on your server that you just can't provide. I always throw out a couple ideas for the customer, such as a fax cover sheet, a timesheet, an application, a vacation request form. That will get their mind working, and they'll think of a form that they can use. I then ask them, is there a form you can think of right now? They'll tell me a form. If there's a PC nearby, we'll walk over to the PC and we'll send it over. If there's not, we can scan it from the doc feeder. I don't recommend scanning from the doc feeder because you do have issues with copy quality, and you can't hold the print settings cannot be held. But we go into forms. There's nothing in there right now. I'll go ahead and send this over. Here's a flyer. If I do want to save the flyer from the doc feeder, I'll go ahead and click save. I can name that file. I like to use the word name it because then if they tune me out, they understand, oh, I can name it. Simple things. Everything looks good. I'll click start. Scans it in. And now I always go back to the home menu so that they can see me. Click user box. There's my forms. I can double click and there's my document. If I wanted to print it, I just select it, I hit print, and then it lets me choose my options, 1 or 2-sided stapling. Again, if this is a document that always needs to be 2-sided and I want it to be stapled, I recommend sending that over from the computer, because if you say 2-sided staple on the computer, this setting will already be here and you won't have to manually change it. It's fantastic for volunteers, for churches, and for any organization that has to have people walk up and use the machine, but maybe they do not have a PC computer.